Well, they didn't get 13-0'd, which is probably the only victory that YFP gets in that first map because Rankers, I mean Vans, they were not messing around. It's grand finals time. They're out there. They're shooting like their lives depends on it. 13-3 victory to be starting this run back.
What was it, like 9-0 before we saw some life coming out of YFP, taking like 1 or 2 timeouts before it even happened. So that for sure is the saving grace, the light at the end of the tunnel, or the silver lining rather, is that they're able to salvage some rounds to not get annihilated on that map. But then again, this was also a map that's supposed to be super comfortable here for YFP. But when these guys are just shooting nonstop, and it just, there's nothing you can do. I mean, look at how everybody's blinded every single time. Even players in the back here for Rankers are getting blinded as they're pushing forward, but it doesn't matter because the 2 players in the front are still doing their job. I really don't know what type of answer YFP could have here, especially going on their map pick on Ascent.
I thought Rankers were going to have issues, you know, not playing a breach and just putting all the eggs in just a lot of dependence on Yoru flashes and stuff. But what was so good is the confidence in the movement of Rankers and how well they were especially able to play off of the ISO utility, whether it was not playing a normal style of Valorant, kind of playing behind a wall like tank DPS support style, or playing off the undercut, which induces the fragile state in YFP, and that's why they were also falling over so fast. Never mind that Rankers felt like they were getting headshots on every swing they got. It was so impressive, the mechanical skill, but also how they're able to utilize this ISO.
Yeah, you have questions about like the comp and how they're gonna get stuff done. They don't care. You're not familiar with Rankers game, or at least like you weren't familiar. Like there's nothing that can be done if they're just, I don't know, they peak with this confidence and they back it up with the shots. And for YFP, there wasn't an answer to that. There's not really enough game planning around that. Even when they're up in the first kills, Vans, it was just something that they weren't able to contend to with these players that were able to just take it back. And we saw a rough sunset loss from them last time. So it is, you know, reminiscent, but I'm curious then looking on where we'll get to see those adjustments, because they had to have picked this if they feel confident about this in some sense, even if we don't get to see that change to be kicking things off.
I just think the previous scoreboard kind of just told the story too, where the amount of times Rankers were successful here in these pulse plant scenarios on their attack side, just because YFP are not giving that chance to really set up on retakes and really just set up at all anywhere, losing a lot of these 1v1s, losing a player ahead of time before they even try to go for retakes. A lot often in these moments they're like on a 3v4 or a 4v5 or something like that, where they can't convert back because there's just too many bodies for Rankers. Even just one body is good enough for Rankers to win the round for them. So a great job for Rankers to just isolate everybody for YFP. We're going to have a similar story though going on to Ascent, because you're going to have a very similar comp potentially here for Rankers, with the exception of Kane Zero playing a jet instead of an ISO, but the gist of it is still going to be that same type of aggression.
I'm expecting a strong matchup in the jet department of Penny versus Kane. Still the Yoru being brought in, still going to be the story of Knights on the Clove. But Ascent, or for Rankers, it's been so much behind how they enter the site and the confidence, and they just winning every duel. There's been so many first bloods in their favor off these just initial engagements. YFP need to have these strong starts and cannot afford any mistakes, because Rankers are going to run them over.
At least when we're looking at Ascent for the next map in the series, this wasn't a 2-0 loss then for YFP to get knocked down. This was a series that went all 3 last time they met, and it was an Ascent that was positive for YFP in multiple ways. We were talking about how strong their sunset was. Maybe if we didn't even get to see that on display, Ascent is where we really got to see, hey, there is a series on our hands here. This is where we also got to see a really big step up from Thief the last time around, Van. So it's something that they have the capabilities to slow down these Rankers players. And this is where we really did get to see more of that strategy of theirs come to light.
Yeah, I think the positive thing about it is the layout of Ascent too, when you don't have like the ability to flash as well as you can to really get into these sites, or just to have individual sites. You have to be a little bit more proactive on splits. You have to be more proactive of working around the map. And this is a great opportunity for players like Physic, for example, with an Odin with a recon dart to play. Like, it's great opportunities for you to play a little bit more passively and get good value before you have to play that type of retake against a team like Rankers. So they I expect YFP to still be able to put up a good fight, but man, this is a different Rankers even from the last time they played against YFP in the upper bracket.
But this could be a more reinforced YFP playing a double sentinel around Deadlock from Stellar, Thief with the usual Cypher. You're not going to have as many like blinds. Yes, you still have the Omen blind, but you're not going to have like a Breach or a KO or just, your usual KO here. So less info off of that, but more about just delaying the Rankers entry, maybe playing out of sight, letting them come in. But we need stronger retakes from YFP because they may have a lot of bodies left on the retakes, but just Rankers also play proactively. They don't kind of just sit on the site. They like to extend out of it. They like to play on it unpredictably. So that's been hard for YFP to keep up with.
I mean, where my worry is for YFP for Ascent, two players that we've talked a lot about, Eggster and Poppin. The last Ascent series from them wasn't necessarily the greatest, and it's already something that we've gotten to see in today's series that both are really warmed up in the series. So that, Vans, is a scary prospect, because if we're talking about a different look to Rankers and already starting things off, the people that kind of struggled last time are looking better. I mean, this is where I really want to see that confidence from YFP step in, because they have the confidence talking to them before. Like, they can. They had respect for Rankers, but I need that confidence to show up in the server now.
Yeah, and I also think it's a good shout with what Lemon Q was talking about before. I think it's very similar to the YFP versus Blue Otter that we were presenting yesterday as a head-to-head between the duelists, where Penny likes to play more of a Jet instead of a Yoru. So having that lack of like the extra flashes of a Yoru to the get at a jail free card here that Yoru could also bring, just like Jet. It's also something that's going to be a detriment to what Rankers are currently bringing into this game with their hyper aggression. So hopefully Penny will be able to find still some opportunities with, I'd like to say an operator on the defensive side as soon as possible, but then as well for if he has to be able to escape, there's still some people to support. I think the buddy system is going to continue to be super important for YFP as a win con.
I mean,
I think
go ahead.
YFP are just really good at clutching, just like I can't clutch the pause there. But YFP have played at deficits before. Like how many clutches have we seen out of Stellar, like in these pistol rounds or from Jakey? Like we made montages off of YFP being able to come back from dire straits. So I with the experience that they have gone through way too many tournaments, way too many losses to have this affect them. Of course, how much respect they give to Rankers is like a different conversation, but this is YFP's map pick, so you got to go into this guns blazing.
I mean, when you're talking about that comeback potential for YFP, I love that call out, because that's not something that we only just got to see earlier today, just with, hey, we're down by a lot on this map, let's flip it around, take it to a triple OT. But as well, yesterday, they had 4 first kills of Blue Otter's 19s and always played at a deficit, finding the win.
True.
So there is hope
On
here.
split.
Yeah, it was crazy. So heading into Agent Select for Ascent, we've seen these teams, we've seen what these players are thinking of. So going into this, yeah, Vans, not a lot of, changes, but how they play this out, that'll be the real key.
Yeah, and especially YFP starting off on the attack side too. This is the tougher side with the comp that you have, but there's still great ways to get early information, even with a deadlock in your comp. We've seen some great stuff being utilized here by other deadlocks in other games of how much space you're able to, or how much people are able to grab on the net that you throw. So it's not necessarily on space that you're creating, but it's just opportunities for kills for Penny to be a little bit more aggressive to take advantage of these picks. And hopefully they'll be able to do something very similar against a team like Rankers.
I mean, last time YFP on their attack, they were able to string together 7 in a row. So looking for that on their attack. But for YFP, I'm looking for that step up. The YFP we know they can be. Can they clutch this out and take this to a map 3, or is Rankers gonna do what seemed to be the impossible at the beginning of this bracket? Let's head into the map.
Yep, series point for Rankers. Will the ranked Demons win our Challengers Grand Final without dropping a series? YFP want the revenge from that semi-final, and they got 2 Sentinels to try and stop this tidal wave of an offense.
The tidal wave actually starts on the offense for YFP, but they have all 5 players looking to go very quickly rather into the A site. The only thing you have to stop here is Knights with a smoke and a metal. They hear the TP in the first place, and this is the advantage of what you're currently bringing here. The Yoru to be able to support TP away if there's a fallback from the attack.
And YFP started off on offense the last time they went to this match, and it was still 7-5 in their favor. So don't doubt the power of 2 sentinels on the post plant. They're getting flashed up, but somehow Rankers couldn't take advantage. YFP threw a net just in case Rankers were about to slip into the Cypher cage. But stomping around in heaven is this duelist Kane, and just clearing out and evicting everyone from hell. Even a knife kill from Kane, just disrespecting YFP on the pistol round, and only dropping 1 body is pretty impressive.
And that was a huge shock dart that came from Poppin right into the generator that put Penny down to 4 HP, where they can't double up on the generator. And also, YFP were realizing that their wall was about to expire here towards the door, and they never really had real control back towards A main, so the only real places you could play is within Hell. And everybody gets funneled in there. You see the smoke being thrown down on the attack side, yet it's not enough. Rankers still drop in and play the power of numbers for the trade, and they're able to capitalize on a very clean retake towards the end. While all of that is just to isolate the players pushing forward to not allow YFP to take control towards Heaven, they also made sure they cleared towards Catwalk before going for the engagement back for the retake, so that they don't get backstabbed by any lurks.
There's an outlaw from Knights watching over the A site. Where the smoke is, YFP can be forced to... Oh, the smoke! Didn't come down fast enough, and Penny didn't have the illusion. Wow. The outlaw gets traded out, and YFP comes storming in, but the Bucky was clipping them down. YFP trade that out as well, and leave themselves with a 1-man advantage with a plant going through. And Spire could be one to prevent that. Planted. Just spotted the cap of Steve.
Wait a moment.
Camera still on the other side of Jen. Inspire doesn't know where that second player is. Based on the plan, he could have made his way into Hell or even into Tree. Those are the 2 options Inspire has to clear with. And YFP, I like that they're just not going to engage into this, but with the high and low, they do so at the perfect time, and it's YFP that take the anti-eco.
Yeah, a little bit of a 3-2-1 swing there for YFP, but also still lined up where there was a chance there for Inspire if he didn't drop down the staircase. That said, I like the opening that Knights was able to do. Outlaw out in the open, not afraid here because you're playing against a composition that doesn't have the quickest flash to get you out of your line, so it's a free first pick. But there's overextensions that came through from Rankers, thinking that their weapons were going to be good enough against YFP. But this is still YFP that we're talking about here, so some great trade backs coming out from the attack side, and they're able to capitalize and win their thrifty against Rankers. A strong buy that they have into round number 3. The eco that you have on the other side is denied, as it was a Marshall trying to do at least some one-on-one damage that looked like it hit, but it gets denied instead.
Oh, Poppin's just gonna pop out and just get a kill like that against a sheriff. So YFP choking that moment to continue their streak, but they still have a good round to work with, especially with a deep lurk from Jakey towards B. But YFP are just going to utilize that moment, that scare in mid to push towards A. But this might have made some noise, and Egster sensed it. How the deadlock wall is going to stop him from getting involved, and Egster's maybe fine with that. As the smoke dissipates, though, Egster could get a backstab either way. Jakey has a lot more to deal with in mid. Trades out, knowing at least the close in mid. Egster and Tree. YFP have all the information on the remaining players. It's about getting a safe plant.
Onto Cellar, it's a 2v2 here.
1 enemy remaining.
Ooh, and with the outlaw,
Drop in a smoke.
Penny makes the job easier. Now it's Knights. It's been a huge MVP for Rankers before. Damage early on, trying to get rid of this trip and just can't. Now we're gonna try and threaten at least the high ground and be on the same plane of existence. Trying to get behind this team. We're playing in cover. And just the right time, right place, right time for Thief. YFP with a lead.
Some good damage being done, though, for Rankers there. That's 3 drops. You talked about Pop and somehow just got through the smoke and instant classic kill onto his opponent. But with the rest following up here, Knights continues to be a stronghold, somebody to be afraid of here in these moments. He even got the dink onto Penny. Thankfully, it was just a bulldog through a generator that doesn't fully take him down, if not on a 1v1. And a trip that never got broken after Egster threw out his decoy was a saving grace here for YFP to salvage that round and still win it in their favor. But They don't have like the strongest buys. There's still an outlaw to fight with, which could do some good damage.
Yeah, you'll lean on that. And Penny dash in and just have the right time of being able to make it into the smoke without getting headshot. Exter's being aggressive.
I don't know if we're gonna need a pause here because Knights had a classic for the whole first 30 seconds into spawn. We'll wait it out though, as there's still action to be played in the rest of this round. Still a 4v4, so we'll continue at least, and we'll wait to see what the admins will say. But Knights is going to move back towards the B site. A great trade-off, at least towards the B main control. And there's still good weapons, and Kane has an operator watching it towards Catwalk, so they've isolated the players close.
When Exter's trying to get the jump on him, and this is why you just can never feel secure in your pushes. You never know if someone's lurking around for rankers. And look at that, swinging out of the smoke. Knights gets 2. You would never expect lightning to strike twice in the same place, but when you're playing against rankers, it can. And Knights pops out of the ult and gets the 3K, and rankers tie it up.
Wow. And somehow they still converted that when Poppin only has a classic. So from what I'm being told, nobody said anything, so I guess we're good. Knights picking up the weapon. Exactly. I mean, that's right after that. It's like, hey, Exter, just try to get a kill. Give your body away. Let me have your weapon, and I'll just push through the smoke and get my own 2K. I mean, that is a strat and a half, I guess, that you utilize here for rankers. And they tied up the game on a 2-2 scoreline with a worse buy that they had. Remember, they had a couple of players that didn't have any armor going into that round, and thanks to that, they have a much healthier one going into this one.
Ooh, Hunter's Fury right off the rip. Interesting move from Physic, and Jakey tries to teleport onto the high ground, and that gets shut down. No Hunter's Fury pings, no high ground. First Bloods, YFP. Threw it out the wall, see what sticks. Neural Theft to get them a lucky shot through the smoke, and
cage triggered.
Rankers still have numbers.
And Thief has a big responsibility just to stay alive within the site, because the other ones are all the way across towards the A site, and that flash is going to push him away, and that's going to be harder now for Stellar to move in.
Yeah, just for Rankers to know they could be watched as they run back from the A side. YFP could overwhelm them, and Kane shut down. YFP watching these entries. They still haven't planted. So now there's the move. 3 versus 2. Already the Clove spotted out. Inspire's coming through mid. That could be the saving grace. They decide to split up or swing together. Looks like split up could be the option, and no info afforded from the camera that gets immediately shot down. At least you know YFP are present on the site, not cowering in the closet. And Nice is just trying to pick
enemy remaining.
the perfect move, the perfect time, and it's Thief with 4.
Big round there coming out from Thief. The lurk to win the 1v1. The hat, I mean, also the net that grabs the players towards the spawn. Exer just stayed crouched in the net the whole round because he was just ADSing down towards the logs, hoping that somebody was going to path in that spot so he could at least hopefully do a one attempt of a fight before he falls down. And then you saw the communication coming out from YFP to get the shock dart onto his feet and take him out. So a great job by Thief once again. We highlighted him going into this round. He was also the top fragger playing against rankers the last time around here on this map that resulted in a victory for YFP. And he's anchoring up towards the A site. Oh, sorry, he's pushing up with the rest of his team rather towards the B site.
Wait, he threw the flash right onto Poppin, and YFP caught him in a trap. But it's Kane emerging from the market side. That cuts down YFP to just 2. They are successful on the plant. You have 2 players left in 2 lanes, and Jakey gets a head start, swinging on the Kane. Now Knights has tunneled down, wants to approach us with numbers with Inspire, and even in the isolated duel, Knights gets the last laugh. And it's Physic that is wrapped around unexpectedly around boats, thinking both players went to the site, and Inspire, the delayed push, takes care of him.
Just a nice move coming in, no matter what, guaranteeing that they're going to be able to get the trade if Knights is going to get backstabbed walking down the staircase. But it seems though YFP are finding a little bit of a weak link because they're realizing that Inspire puts a lot of his setups through the first half here on this A site. So they want to brute force their way in, play the power of numbers to move inside this B site, get a couple of entries, but towards the end, it's still some great shooting that came back here from Knights, retaking with the Guardian. That really dwindles down the numbers that YFP had here in the Pulse plant. Now Inspire going back into a setup towards the B site. Camera right looking here aggressively into the B main. And looking at Kane Zero, he's looking to push forward. Double control from both duelists into the front of the A main. And they're going to play the bait and switch, you can see from this position. So Exter, he wants to play out in the open. If he gets spotted, he could TP out. Nobody's technically should be clearing that corner. And it should be free kills for Kane that could activate with a dash. And that's where YFP are currently walking towards you.
Yeah, who expects two people to be in wine? Like, there's only ever one. And there he goes. Just one now for Kane. Just waiting to play off contact. Because of this close smoke, there's going to be at least a get-out-of-jail-free card for Kane if he wanted to leave. But
yeah,
it's YFP that are going to work. Not really sure where they want to go. They look like they were retreating. They thought the lurk was going towards B.
Here.
They didn't want to push through this smoke because Silva's all the way out towards tiles, and they kind of need him at that point, or if not, more useful to try to clear out the spot.
Cover going out.
Taking care of wine was one thorn on their side that YFP do not want poking around, and dashing on in. Penny's a bit delayed, and it gives a chance for Rankers to swing out, but Jakey gets in, makes use. Now with the plant, Jakey's watching over Heaven at 5 HP. A trade would be favorable, but just at least using him for info. Something that Penny and Stellar can work with.
Traveling.
Smoke to maybe isolate that player, and Poppin snuffs it out. Just gonna play hidden as best as they can. He has drone and darts and something procced, and Thief made his way behind him. So that'll be a pretty done round for YFP.
That's a good move for Thief too. Just that you notice here that Poppin's going to overextend his stay on the top of Heaven, just looking for exit kills before he could leave himself and try to save his weapon. And to drop him right away and keeping the econ low for Rankers in the next round is a key moment here for YFP on the attack. You talked about how strong it was here for YFP on their attack side against this team of Rankers, and you can see from the executions and the patience that they bring. We talked about that that double duelist into Wine. Even if you pull out the TP, it's extra paranoia for the side of YFP. You don't know if it's a TP that made it into Wine. You don't know if it's a fake TP. You don't know if it's a TP that retreats the Yoru. So you don't want to push through when the Clove is put in the one-way smoke or the A main smoke, especially when you don't have a Silva to try to clear through that. So they naturally just waited out the smoke, used the time in their favor, forced out the peek from King Zero, and the rest was history. Great advantage play from YFP, punishing the aggression out of Rankers and capitalizing on the round.
I must wait a moment.
Oh, and Aries by, and Poppin's gotten good damage with the shock bolts too. So Thief will be brought down to 90. And no one's gone on a win streak. It's been round after round, traded back and forth. Close-up personal Bucky. Jakey with the paranoia teleports right in the middle.
Oh my.
Down, B.
And Kane just slices down 3 and stifles this push for YFP, leaving the spike out in the open, and Stellar
I have the spike.
just Kane mid-move. Stellar's able to recover the spike, but has no idea if there's more trouble on the horizon.
No charges.
He's gonna do what he can to delay things and to play safe during the plant. All his hesitation is giving a chance for Rankers to get in.
Yeah, closing the gap too, and we mentioned how good Stellar is in the clutch, the mind that he has, and trying to
30
outmaneuver and
seconds
outgame. At least he has info on the Cypher, but no timing on Knights.
Aw, such an unfortunate read. As Rankers play as such a unit, usually when you kill one, there's just 1,000 more wasps. It's like poking the hive. That's what playing Rankers feels like.
100%.
I don't blame Stellar for for thinking that there was going to be more aggression or just a closer members there. Gives us a 4-4 scoreline, and again, no one's been on a win streak, so I'm surprised everyone can keep buying up.
Thought we were going to have a double ult in round 2, but it looks like Kane goes for the Phantom instead. Just holding out towards the pizza and trying to find a timing peak. That said, though, I love it. Rankers continue to play out in the open and not afraid to fight here against YFP for their lack of flashes. The only thing that they have is an Omen Paranoia to hopefully hit some players as they scale through, and that was the punishment in the last round. Kane Zero staying out in the open, updrafting, Bladestorm, easy kills. Now we'll try the same thing here. A dash from Penny around the Hunter's Fury, and it works.
But the trips all over Jenny, like they put it on top thinking Penny was gonna go for high ground, and he slipped past it, and we needed Penny to show up for YFP to try and duel against the Rankers. 4 versus 2 with a mixed buy from YFP.
Spike planted.
Taking care of the deadlock barrier.
My territory.
It's taken a while. Annihilation from Stellar to pull Poppin up close for a big ol' hug. Kane was already be shooting around through trees, so YFP got the firing squad ready looking at this door.
And when he dropped Poppin, he called info on 2, but not on a 3rd, so Kane still has to be a little bit cautious moving in, but an easy one for Penny towards the end. You mentioned it. Just instead of trying to go for a dash, he went for an updraft, which was perfect to really counteract on Inspire's position in the back of the A site. The entries continuing to be very good for YFP, when in combination at least with the Hunter's Fury. But to try to funnel out behind potential reaction of a Clove Smoke has not been the best way to do it. And surprisingly enough, Rankers are pulling out a timeout here.
It was a 7-5 half for YFP when they concluded their offense. So just for them to keep this close, to bring that double sentinel to defense and see how they could take the win like they did last time against the Rankers. That is the plan for YFP, and it's up to Rankers to leverage these ults. Where can Eggster go with the dimensional drift? He's like to play aggressive at B main, just kind of swinging out of Knights of Smokes. Or maybe they want to leverage an early pick and get Inspire's Neural Theft and figure out where to go from there. Either way, economy kind of rough.
There has been moments too from Blue Otter, for example, versus YFP, where lower buys and, you know, Bob with a dimensional drift was really good to find early information on the extremities and really punish YFP on this map. But the difference is there was an Omen Paranoia to help out behind all of that and not just relying on your util and flashes to get the aggressive control. And that's what's lacking from Rankers as well. So as much as we're saying that YFP is lacking on flashes, there's the extra, you know, lack of a flash by playing the Clove instead of an Omen, where you can't really run it down as you're able to here on Sunset, because you have to walk down long corridors before it could actually clear an open site. You're running out in the open before you turn the next corner, and it really catches you off guard. And YP's was expecting something like that for this round, of some sort of a crunch behind a dimensional drift, and they held back towards the spawn rather at the very beginning.
And the smokes can only limit Rankers so much. They're not afraid to just solo step past that. I remember Poppin just in a classic kill at this point. So YFP,
take flight.
I'd be scared going for this control, which is kind of the unexpected swings just like that from Kane. Gets caught from Penny.
I know
Knights,
exactly where you are.
ready to stagger in. Neural Theft will reveal him. Knights has to execute quick, and Penny is on the prowl. So Rankers down 2 with an unfortunate buy that they were not able to. It's an uphill battle at this point. YFP wrap around to B. Exit come around with a Bucky. And then, okay, gets one.
So Physic wants to let Poppin know apparently that he's a better Sova there by making sure that, you know, Poppin stays on the ground. But that said, I mean, it was just a simple pick coming out from Penny that allowed the Neural Theft to come out. A little bit of over-aggression coming out from Rankers, but understandable. A lower buy that you had, it was a half buy to make sure that you have a pretty strong buy in this round number 11. But a very strong attack side for YFP to start. And Rankers looking to add a little bit of aggression on their side this time around. There's a lot of duelists and bodies down towards bottom mid at M3. but they choose otherwise. Thought they were going to try to push through, but just at the last second decide to group up here on the split towards the A site attempt from YFP.
Because Rankers have been funny and wine before, YFP are conditioned to, okay, we gotta clear that. You just never know where Kane can be. So they sacrifice the recon for that. They'll leave a sonic sensor behind. And YFP hope to re-clear through mid or even keep it open, keep their eyes on it either way. And Penny spots one. And he's been having a much larger impact for YFP as the rounds go by. And we've talked about YFP being a
Fake
kind of
TP
blossoming
double swing.
late, but
Still creating enough space here for Kane to even move forward. Now they won't hear the rotate back, but the pings are still coming through, so they kind of really still funneled YFP into their crosshairs walking back out.
Stay down.
ooh. Now knowing that Kane could be on the flank, YFP don't want to waste
30
any more
seconds
time,
left.
any more map control to Rankers. Wait for the clove smoke to dissipate, and then there's Rankers already shooting through it and getting pings, and the Hunter's Fury catches Penny at the leg, and YFP know they can't safely plant without rooting out the problem. Now 11 seconds, neural
seconds
theft for
left.
the defense.
Last player standing.
Trying to give extra timing on the switch, but Stellar with a huge double kill gives YFP still a chance to salvage this round, and he's at 1 HP. How did he live?
Yeah, Exer did a great job again, just moving around the map with the Euro util, but then somehow just a little bit too antsy in the back of the site, overpeaked, and then forced his hand out to go for a Bucky shot and put Stellar down to 1 HP. Yes, it's 1 HP, but it's still Stellar and Physic playing together on a high-low here, looking towards the staircase.
One enemy remaining.
Spire gets away with 1. And it's Stellar that lives
Last
with
round
1
before the switch.
HP. And we've highlighted how important Stellar has been to this team now more than ever as a deadlock to hold back this team. And he'll do so on the defense coming up. But Stellar's clutch factor and how he can turn around odds has been so incredible to see. YFP, though, barely have a lead at 3 rounds. But see how they can close out the half.
We also talked about the tenacity of YFP yesterday, and also the tenacity and experience of players like Jake, for example, where you're falling behind on the first map. It's a one-sided affair, but you're still able to fight back, and they do so in the second map quite well on their attack side. Although, unfortunately, they lose Penny quite early at the beginning of this round. Was trying to look for at least a duel on top middle. The Allen drone looking back, it's forced quite early in the back of spawn, which they won't be able to use for clearing into sight, and they don't even have a dart, so you do have to scale a little bit more slowly for YFP. And this is where it allows Rankers to shine a little bit more, to be aggressive.
Knights knows something's up, able to play aggressive because of the ult, and now trying to leave and is unable to do so, or maybe didn't want to. Bit off more than he can chew, and YFP have evened things up 3-3. With injuries on both sides, Spike still heading towards A, and Thief having a heads-up play against people in glass. Now with YFP kind of surrounding the site. There's only one place this last member can be, and that's heaven. YFP haven't even gotten to plant. They delayed so much, and now Stellar at 16 HP doesn't have to sustain. It's a simple clutch for Exter.
And thankfully, Spire was able to do enough damage before he fell down as well. A great stall coming in from Rankers in that last round. Again, just forcing out the early Silva utility so quickly, not allowing YFP to have enough information moving into the site. And Exter is able to win that in the end on that 1 versus 2. A Zippo clutch now moving into the second half, where Rankers have now the tempo capabilities with this composition. And we're hoping to see here for Rankers, at least as Rankers fans, that they'll have a much better time here on the attack as they did the last time against YFP.
Very deja vu. Another 7-5 half. Woo. Let's get the aim all warmed up. Deadlock A, Cypher B. Jump spot. YFP don't usually go for those against a team like that. It's because Ranker's aims has been so good. You do not want to sacrifice yourself, but Jakey gets such good info and is going to play as back as he can. Signal to Stellar.
Over there.
To throw all the deadlock util down. Not necessarily pulling rotates. Penny's still washing over in glass and tree. It's Rankers that are going to pivot.
They're calling the cautious look here towards tree. Playing very passively for YFP. Penny's going to try to watch this from the window. It makes sense here. There's no paranoia or anything that's going to try to take him down towards the garden. He wants to use the elevation to his advantage.
Oh, Penny shots into one. Sees the complete cross. A deadlock net. Catches the decoy, but still forces a staggered flood for Rankers. You now have to go toe-to-toe against YFP's best. And just YFP are falling like pins. That's a full strike for Rankers. Thief in a 1v4. Now just figuring out who you want the plant orb to go to, and Thief could be spotted out. Looks like Inspire already knows where he's coming from.
Yeah, especially when you're running through the cages and making noise, you're just trying to fade it out. Nice little dink in the first place, but Inspire still picks up the kill where they wanted Knights to pick it up. Because, yeah, they went for the plant. They would have had 5 ult orbs going into the round. But overall, the grav net that actually not only got the decoy, but got a little bit more. And unfortunately, Jakey was trying to move out with the classic, trying to catch one, but there's just too many opponents on the other side that you can't really stay out of cover for such a long time. They had to try to fall back, couldn't get the kill, and then Rankers took the opportunity right after to catch YFP in the reload. Now winning the piss around and look at the buy. I mean, they are going with a huge buy here for Rankers.
Ooh, timing for a physic. Didn't pull the trigger yet on any shock bolts or recons. We'll hold that as Rankers already dash into A. Jakey just wanted to enter the smoke and gets sliced down, and Rankers win every duel to take full control of the A site. And have already put Kane, one of their best players, on the high ground and drops to Penny Sheriff. These weapons still out of reach for YFP.
Not ready.
They get shot from under hell and from so many angles, including from an Ares. So YFP have to be so careful, and that's just not fair.
Caution.
And now you can see them pulling back towards the spawn too, because they're anticipating that Knights wants to go on a hunt, and they don't want to give him the ult orbs. The ping comes, or I was going to say the recon, I felt should have pinged physic, but maybe it went a little bit too high. But you definitely know here that they're going to try to take him down. Instead of realize they want to keep the weapons. They spent way too much here in this round in terms of Guardians and Bulldogs. With YFP not pushing out, they're content here to survive with the weapons instead of focusing on the orbs on Knights.
Now we're tied 7-7 after the biggest lead we've had was a 2-round lead for YFP at the half. Now with a strong bonus, a lot of money being saved on Ranker's side, it's YFP that gotta really pray they can do good damage here. And they'll have an Odin buy. It's physic on one. Kind of needs to work on the delay, right? Of can he really get a good catch if they do ever go to B? But so far, Rankers have been digging their success at A. Now there's still a deadlock that could stop them in their tracks, but Rankers then always pivot the tree, so they have options. Fire does here. I had to double check Penny there. Had a chance to do a little dance. Rankers still paving their way.
Don't know if it was a moment where Penny was like glancing at his minimap and got caught off guard. Now Stellar has a lot to play against just behind the dice. Delays enough. Especially with the wall he just threw out. There's still a trip towards the switch. They could try to get a wall bang here from the back of dice.
Having Inspire in mid too. Rankers seeing what they can get. Drawing out YFP into a battle. YFP stick to their more traditional defensive style for the moment and force Rankers to make the decision. Activate their lurk that swings out and market. Takes control of B.
Got you.
Camera from Thief will spot it out. Big engagement for Thief.
30 seconds left.
My eyes are down.
He has a judge and he's just utilizing a classic to do damage and couldn't even escape. Rankers are so good at tracking people through the walls too. And now this is just an impossible pass for YFP. Problem solved with just Stellar. But hey, he shows up but gets outnumbered in the end, and it's Rankers with the lead.
And that's such a tough task to be asking for Thief, especially when you're able to force a rotate across the amount of util and just the continuous jump spots coming out here from Stellar saying, okay, there's still 2 or 3 guys over here. I'm going to need some help. So Thief rotates out, but when he loses that spot, he also loses the gap that he's able to close with the judge as he's playing. So it's understandable he's trying to fight with a classic to, I mean, he's good with pistol still, so you don't discredit him with that. It's still very difficult to play against Rankers here, so we talked about similar scenarios in the first time they met against each other, but this is the first time now that Rankers not only won pistol and anti-eco on their attack side, but they also converted their bonus. YFP back into an eco, trying to go wall bangs with the Sheriff to be lucky. But as the extra paranoia comes through, that they're using their Silva towards the B site, their info gathering is all towards the B site with him and Cypher. They're over-rotating and trying to stack here in the back of middle. It's a wrong read, unfortunately. Oh, well, as I say that, a nice shot from Jake.
I was worried about Jake playing solo there because Rankers have loved to flood into tree or even just cross from there into sight. And Jakey, what he can do by himself is incredible. Buying time for Rankers, or buying time for YFP, I should say, to reinforce the A site, to pull Penny from mid to help into glass. Now Rankers gotta get creative and even maybe wrap around behind the defenders. So keep an eye on what Inspire can do to cut off rotates while Rankers make their way into B with the spike. And sitting on the side is Physics. And for now, Inspire gets a 1-1 trade. It's a 3 versus 2 on the post plant. With Jakey going for a teleport play just from main, and watching that flank is Knights. Has him downloaded, but doesn't have the shot, but has an ult and a second chance.
To die.
Penny had him. Yeah, second chance, and Jakey called off. Penny had a better sightline. Good teamwork from this duo. Jakey being weakened by 2 shock bolts. This is a horrible spot now.
Enemy remaining.
And now just this gun sticking out. Rankers playing against the wall, and Penny has to play with an outlaw. It's not gonna work. And Rankers continue on.
Maximum damage with the shock darts too, but you're gonna take this for Rankers. This was an eco round that they had. Sorry, you're gonna take this for YFP. That was an eco round that YFP had, rather. And they were able to get some great openings, some great starts on Rankers trying to scale up fairly slowly. As much as we talk about the information gathering here is a lot on Physic and Thief that were pinned towards the B site. You also don't have enough for Rankers either, as they're also playing just a Silva on their side as a single initiator. So
who's next?
You're trying to get these duels that you're comfortable with. Until I talk about information gathering, at least we have a dimensional drift here for the Yoru.
He's caged off from his team, though. Have fun. His team not really antsy to break it down. It's just going to be a fake, and see how much time Exter can buy. Teleports out, rejoins the team, and YFP have been bamboozled. Penny has an off in mid, so maybe now he's smoked off from sight. Stellar will catch the lurk. And Rankers make their way into the site, teleporting. YFP try to get sight lines and not cower. And YFP do such a good job of dwindling down Rankers' forces. But Exter at 6 HP has 2, now 3, 2 left. As he hopes to teleport out of this. It's actually a fake, and he can get the ace, but Penny denies with the shorty.
Thankfully, Penny's there with the shorty to get that pick. I thought it was GG from the very beginning here, where Rankers are just trying to run into the site, and there was just so much util from YFP to really block all the vision coming out from Rankers to try to take inside that site. A beautiful set trip being set at the very beginning here from Thief. But with that, the double cages, putting Jake in a great spot to get openers, and now giving so many 1v1s onto Exter. And this is where it's like a wake-up call for YFP to say, oh, wait, in these moments, they could still turn it around if we could continue to not play as coordinated as we want to be. trying to leverage. Oh, what the hell?
He just gets to jump out and
I know exactly.
get a kill like that. Like, what the hell is Rangers sometimes, you know? Like, they get away.
Valorant sometimes like that, too.
I mean, that's true. He also shouldn't be getting an accurate shot like that. But YFP have been brought down to just 3. Still an off.
No way,
and a double
dude.
kill from Kane as they line up. It's duck hunt for a guy like Kane, who impressed us already in the other tournament we captured. But
One down.
Penny will hope to keep the op. He's got 2 kills this round. He has knives for the next. But any weapon you could take away would have been great. Rankers a few more rounds from being our champions.
That was just so sick from Kane at a double shot. A cloud burst too, because he knew that there was players coming in from spawn. The smoke was going to dissipate towards spawn as well for him. And then he still gets netted. He was so focused on just trying to take down Penny first, who was trying to get an op shot into market. And then as it gets netted, looks back and then just lines up too. That was so nice. That was super clean. Without talking about the extra jump peak at the very beginning too, to allow all of this to happen.
I must wait a moment.
And that's just one of those rounds where for YFP you're just unlucky and you're just gonna have to reset going into round 20 because your buy is abysmal going into this one here. But you talked about the Bladestorm available for Penny, and also the Annihilation that could maybe be the saving grace for YFP if they could get lucky with the buy that they have.
Or if Steve can activate the roll theft, if he gets a good jump here, brings Inspire to 29, but the Vandal rings true. And Inspire barely lives on. Penny be able to drop a weapon for his team. Rankers unite at the B site. Poppin
Out of charges.
keeps eyes on mid. And Rankers get every win in these isolated scenarios. On the flank, there's more for Poppin to deal with, and Stellar, really good shots. Be able to get an upgrade from that Ghost. An Annihilation if he thinks someone is close and ready to challenge him, but it's YFP not wasting any time. Annihilation doesn't grab anyone. And now it's a 1v2 for Jakey. If anyone can do it, it's him. But now he's stomping around, doesn't really have time. And it's Rankers that still win the duel.
And it was close because there was some miscoms going there from King Zero and Exter, and JK almost lined them both up. But I love the scaling, at least from, despite them losing around here for YFP, the scaling that Stellar kind of did towards the spawn in the back B. Instead of trying to play close, you already saw here that Poppin was basically ADSing or placing his crosshair to go for an instant headshot or from neck to high if anyone was going to turn around the corner. And you stay a little bit further back here from Stellar to try to break that crosshair placement, and you're able to win that on a Ghost. Also, catching Poppin off guard, it was still trying to set up on the top of the boxes. So you'll take that at least. Lure buy that you have for YFP again that does some decent amount of damage. But as you mentioned, Penny having Bladestorms on the previous round, Kane Zero also has his own this round, which then means they could be a little bit more careful, or not as careful with this buy, rather, for the next 2 rounds here for Rankers, as they're about to close this series here, only needing 2 more to be crowned the winners of Challengers in Stage 3 here, presented by Knights.
Yeah, if you just look at the kills, like pound for pound, this is still very close. 11-8 though. Rankers have made serious improvements to their offense compared to the last time they went to Ascent, and hope to get their revenge against YFP
This should do.
on this map that they lost previously. And to make this a clean grand final would be a statement to make to all the organized scrimming teams in the Challengers scene.
Yeah.
Now Dimensional Drift. Rankers lose 1 already off the rip, but good information from Exter, and now with the Hunter Furies pinging things out for Poppin. Goes 1 for 1. Down to 30 HP though. Because of the smoke, Rankers have their tracks covered. YP will still play as hidden as possible, hoping to get just timing on the swings as Rankers make their way in. Why did Exter still snuffs out Penny when Penny was holding the angle? Just these swings. You would think someone holding the angle would have the advantage.
One enemy enemy remaining.
Stellar's trying to find equal trades. Jakey as well. Knights will punish. 1v2.
Ult.
Spike planted. And an ult. Yeah, good shout. Trying to stagger out Physic and Stellar. They work together. Oh, already spotted the Sova. Wanted to see where the second player was, and it's YFP that crawled their way closer in this match.
You saw here from Knights on that 1v2 why he swung out here at the last second. His smoke was about to bloom in a couple of seconds too. So he just wanted to see if he could try to win a 1v1 against Physic. And with him losing that one and having the ult, you can't really pop it anymore because by the time you pop it, well, it's easy for you to drop down and just get caught here while you're coming out from your not done yet. So nice attempt, but great patience once again for YFP. And also the activation from Penny at the very beginning of the round to get one through the smoke. Through the cyber cages, actually, that was thrown by Inspire at the very beginning. Keeps the dream alive now for YFP. To narrow that gap down by 2.
Get out of my way.
We talked about the economy still pretty good here for Rankers.
Again, swinging in off of a flash. They thought they had YFP where it hurts.
Take flight.
And every advantage YFP need, they need to get. It's still possible for YFP to come back. We've talked about their resilience in these deficits in terms of score. Now there's Deadlock util and Cypher util all over this A site. This is just going to be an obstacle course for Rankers. I mean, if they can even get there, this Odin is a menace for Physic. And the spike's in mid.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Once they realized they didn't have cat control, Poppin just ran down to pick up the weapon here. So they could try to at least fight back against Jakey, who then just jumps out with the Judge. Remember Extra before, you give him a lot of 1v1s, he could take it, and YFP is ready for that this time around. Look at everybody just jiggle peeking on the top and just watching that spike.
30
He
seconds
stopped the
left.
surprise attempt here coming out from Rankers with the push out towards B main. Nice little escape that came through from YFP in the very beginning. And then into the mid round. Again, very difficult to do here if you can't really go for a pop flash peek when they're already using it for the B main. They catch 2 players off guard here up towards tree.
10 seconds left.
There's an Odin staring this door down. Dexter gets the jump, but YFP 1 round closer to tying things up. And they'll carry these 2 rifles and an Odin over, which economy comes into play in these dire situations, and YFP keep themselves above water. But for how long can they keep this up? How long can they keep Rankers at bay? It took a very reinforced A of both Sentinels playing at that point and a very good Odin from Physic to limit Rankers, but see how this goes.
Okay, Poppin buys the hero rifle for Knights to try to activate and leverage here. The not done yet, while the rest are going for a half buy, so everybody as a whole could still have a healthy buy in the next round. Selfless plays coming out from Poppin, grabbing orb control too, trying to build up some ults in the next round. Here's the push.
Ooh, a Judge that close and getting an upgrade.
Camera taken out.
But you still have
Why
Penny
destroyed.
being an issue, and YFP taking control of tree. There's angles surrounding the site, and Rankers are running out of space to work with. Gotta get this plant down as soon as possible, and as Odin is not able to prevent it, reveals Physic's position. And Kane, hook, line, and sinker. We're worried about who could counter tree, and Thief, a big headshot to Knights, gets the second player, close ult to scout out before getting back into hell, where Stellar trying to pressure it back. Penny. There's 1 less player for Rankers to deal with. It's Poppin in a 1 versus 2.
Wow.
And the Odin just covers all their bases, and YFP will tie.
And Stellar at 2 HP, so he survives around at 1 HP, now survives around at 2 HP, and that could have been almost a round to guarantee it for Rankers.
There's no need for
where
the
just
enemy
2
to
slight
suffer.
mistakes came out there.
Kill
The first
them
one
fast.
being the smokes trying to be dropped by Knights, caught out in the open. And then secondly, when he comes out of the ult, well, the other ones just stay behind. Poppin only has a stinger because he purchased that Vandal for Knights in the first place. And it just couldn't help each other out to make sure that they could keep and run the clock down and play the clock in their favor. After realizing that they lost Knights in the first place and losing him as the main factor to watch the door is just so hard for you to play inside the site after. YFP stay back in the game. Full gun round though for Rankers. 2 ults available too. Mid control seems to be the play. And already an early wall coming out from YFP.
Drop in a smoke.
Spike left behind and mid scramble.
I love it.
I could really define this round, and it's Knights and Rankers that love to take control of tree, and this time disposing of a Sentinel's one less worry.
Knights actually pinged out that wall so his teammates could shoot it, so he could find the timing as soon as he breaks to be out in the open when somebody's going to try to jiggle peek. Instantly punishes Stellar, and now it's a great opportunity, a huge opening for Rankers to go for a split. Although looking to group back as a team because they do still have the dimensional drift here from Exter to clear out all that info for the team on the actual site hit.
Who's next?
There's the smoke from YFP to try and limit things, but the dash is in, and Jakey's in a one and done spot, and catches Kane on top of Jenny. And that is a great player to dispose of if you're YFP. Now in the post play, you'll get a heads up on Heaven, but the door has been broken. YFP getting ahead of the game. And Penny is creating threats on multiple fronts as Rankers tries to deal with this from front to back. It's a 2v2. Rankers having eyes on Heaven.
Enemy remaining.
And as they turn towards Tree, that's when Penny continues to march on. And now unites with Physic. They know where this last player is. But Inspire locks down the simple clutch for Rankers.
Inspire winning that 1v2, where again it's just YFP just brute forcing their way through to battle back against Rankers and to try to be there for immediate trades. And how aggressive that was coming in to start things off for YFP. As soon as the plant went down, Penny already broke the door, goes straight head-to-head against Knights, wins that one, and then everybody starts flooding on the other side. And it just comes down to Inspire right in that corner to just isolate both players, knowing the drop on the first one from the Soba, from Physic, right at the Jenny, and then just has both of them run into his crosshair and clutches. And puts Rankers now at series point where they call their own timeout because they want to finish it right here.
And just how can you be more aware of YFP's immediate approach? Because Rankers are used to kind of having time to set up on the post plant, to have people in hell, close the door in tree, and just kind of await for YFP. But YFP are being a lot more proactive. Penny is just everywhere all at once. They can shut down Penny. This will be Rankers being your Challengers Split 3 champions. And it all leans on this round.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
2 judge buys.
Thankfully, at least a Blade Storm behind the judge here from Penny. But yeah, you're scraping at the bottom of the barrel to try to bring this into the OT. And look at that, despite the round win, you have half shields for Rankers for 2 of the players. But you're trying to get value here off potentially a drone Hunter's Fury, and just the drone baits out the deadlock wall in the very beginning. So they'll know that at least that one of the Sentinels, which Sentinels players is playing towards this B site. And it seems that being that deadlock, Rankers still want to try to push the envelope into a B site hit.
Ooh, Penny's toast. And that leaves mid control for Rankers if they wanted to wrap around B. So much deadlock util awaits Rankers on this B main entry. And there's an Odin from Physic to push them back. He's already been putting shots through the wall. Too much damage has been done, and the whole reason you buy the judge. A site, you can play around the A site so well, and even with the barrel, it's not too shabby. YFP throw the numbers back in their favor.
No
And Rankers try to waste no time. Paranoia from mid, from Jakey. Doesn't caught much. Trying to smoke out one of the doorways so Stellar could have the edge, and he doesn't get the annihilation out. It's 2v1. Jakey to save YFP. flies. Oh, miss. Hunter's Fury
Attackers
to
win.
strike down the final one. Rankers are your Challengers Split 3 champions.
Insane, because that looked really like a ranked game overall towards Ascent. It was brawly, it was brutal on both sides, but Rankers defy the odds, coming in as a team that quote-unquote never practices, from the rank gods themselves in the top 10 Radiant players, and still are able to beat the organized teams and also the chunk of money for stage 3.
What a run from Rankers. And you gotta applaud YFP for almost sending us into another extended OT. Sierra, I thought it was going to be time to go get popcorn for a map 3, but the past does not repeat itself. Well, at least Rankers winning is the past repeating itself.
Yeah.
I told you to get popcorn between games 1 and game 2. That's all I'm saying.
That's so true.
But, wow. From going into Challengers, going into this tournament, Rankers being a team that, you know, their fans believed in them the whole way, but maybe not on our end, or maybe not on everyone's end, there was this belief. And it went from a team of, who are they, to, wow, this is going to be the team that wins, into being the champions, which, fans, I think is crazy. A real testament to the skill from this team, because it's only upscaled throughout.
Yeah, and for sure, and a lot of the fans too, and a lot of people asking questions like, wait, who are these guys? How old are they? Are they actually like ranked demons? Or do they actually have cracked are they cracked aimers just like the Redox back in the day, or the Oxy, LFT Oxy at 14 years old just being cracked out and has the opportunity to play for Cloud9 now? Are these guys the next generations of VCT players? And I think that answers for itself. Now just trying to see if they could elaborate their map pool a little bit more, and they shall be a complete player for a certain team scouting for these opportunities.
Yeah, I wanted to call them exactly that, the next generation of talent, and hope that they are ones to also inspire others to be like, if they could do it, I could do it, and not like a shady way, in a way of like, you don't need a laundry list of a resume or to play with the top players with the most experience. You just sometimes need to frag out, and Rankers did a lot of that, but we're also coordinated in their ways and showed us a different look at the meta, using the Yoru and the ISO at times, and to play in unconventional ways that I hope sparks evolution in the meta and how you approach Valorant.
And a testament too to like the hard work pays off. And of course, looking at the other teams, there has been that hard work being put in. I mean, YFP going from this team that we saw in Challenger Stage 1-2 to where they are now, like these players have also been putting in the work, but showing that these different paths can also lead to a fantastic result. I'm sad that we didn't get to see a map 3 considering YFP's changes to their composition, but honestly, Rankers, with how they've played throughout this tournament, fans, like this was a very deserved win, and their own little adjustments they had on their attacking end. For a team that says like they don't scrim and stuff, like I liked the coordination. I liked what seemed to be planning, like it looked clean.
Yeah, and if it's not preparation, then at least it's the head on their shoulders to think on the fly throughout this whole series and throughout the whole brackets. And for two of these players being, Kane Zira and Knights, it's within 2 weeks winning 2 events and quote unquote one of them being quote unquote Mickey Mouse. But it's still good, right? They put some practice in. They still show that whatever they're practicing in the rank still works out in competitive play. And again, I'm still very, very intrigued and want to know what kind of doors open up here after this for this team.
Yeah, because the future is bright for Challengers in terms of how much talent we were able to put a spotlight on, and really how it's such a toss-up of who could be the next star when it comes to this tier 2, this Challenger scene, because we didn't see TSM, we didn't see MXS, our predictions, our expectations were squashed, and we get kind of this new blood, these new members to step into this light and to show us a new look and a new meta. It's going to be really exciting to see what Rankers do in the future, if they stick as a team, what will happen to YFP, if there's any surprise signings in the future, but this was a great final.
I mean, from having talked to them, I don't know if staying together is necessarily the thing, because I think the players are getting looked at, and I really do hope the best for all of them going on forward, because the talent here is immeasurable. As for us, it's going to be a quick break. On the other side, an interview with Inspire about the victory. A 2-0 victory for Rankers, your stage 3 champions. And on the line to chat a little bit more, we have none other than Inspire. Have to say, huge congratulations, not just for this win, but for the entire run. I mean, Rankers was a team that going into this, there was just kind of some chatter of who is this team? And all of a sudden, the expectations turned that you guys are going to win, and you did it. How are you feeling?
No, I feel on top of the world. I think for me personally, I really needed this win. But I think from the start of the season, like I honestly had zero expectations with this team. I kind of had nothing else going on team-wise besides like some tryouts that weren't for sure. So Poppin hit me up, said they needed Ascent. I was like, who you got? And he just named all the rank 1 players, and I was like, oh, I'm down to have some fun.
I mean, I want to talk a little bit more about first you saying you needed this, but then also saying that you had no real expectations when you heard about this team too. So talk to me a little bit more about both of that. Yeah,
so I think as the community knows, I was on 100 Thieves. It was a tough break. And since then, just kind of been grinding ranked, growing my brand. And so shout out to the fans supporting me along the way. But as some of the trials like fell through, I was like, man, it's been 2 years since I've played. I probably should get in the server at some point, right? And so I'm starting to like DM like challenger teams and players, and they're all like, we kind of have like our priority picks. And I was like, I'm overlooked this much? Well, I know who's good. And so Poppin told me about guys on our team, and I was like, I believe in these guys. I don't care how young they are. I've played against them. I know they got what it takes. And I'm going to be there as like the mentor, make sure to keep their vibes high because they are younger and bring that experience. And they fucking, oh, sorry, my bad. They shined. Excuse my language. They did really good, is what I meant to say.
I think it's appropriate language for how they did throughout this tournament, because they really did. And you talking about being like a mentor to them. Talk to me about these other players on the team, because like they're so young, and like I feel like the careers that they have ahead of them is just endless with how they perform through this tournament.
Yeah, I don't think they're old enough to play in franchising yet. But I already see like potential. Like I know Knight's probably thought he was like a duelist player, and probably still thinks that after playing Clue the entire time. But I see the aim reminds me like kind of like Demon 1 on the Brimstone when EG went on that run. I think that guy has a really bright future ahead of himself on the duelist smokes role, whatever he wants to pick, and it has plenty of time to develop in the challenger scene. And Kane is unreal. Like as long as you don't micro him and make him feel comfortable, he'll open up the map, and I just let him play. I just sit on my camera, let those two play.
Let the Zoomers go to work and just take over this server.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this grand finals, because going up against YFP, we got to see a run back of the same maps, and then going into that second map of Ascent, it was actually one when you played against them last time you lost, but then we got to see a very different attacking half. So I want to know how the team approached that, and for a team that more so talks about not doing scrims and stuff, I want to know if there was a game plan heading into this rematch.
So I actually have played these guys in scrims, and back when I subbed in for TSM in the Red Bull tournament. I understand at a high level like what they're thinking, and usually like from the start of the qualifier I really wasn't speaking up. I was letting like Poppin and some of the other guys like call, but whenever we get against those good teams, I have the reads, and there's no reason I don't speak up with my experience. And that came through like the first time I played on Haven. I knew the way they played Breach, like A main stun from Link. It's masking the Cypher setup. We're leaving Sova solo. Diagonally, it's the Neon is fighting. They have no stun. Let's just hit C. So coming into Ascent, at the end of the last Ascent we played them, I had that read that the market is open. They're denying my cat lurk or B main lurk. Let me just get some time to work through mid, and you guys can hit A based off like what I see, or get the kills, right? And this time around, we really like made sure we gave me time to do that, and it opened up the map, like plenty more the rounds we needed. And it was a close game. So each round that I got those kills in market, it was massive. It just made those executes even stronger for the little kids.
Oh my goodness. But it really could not have been closer without an OT. So honestly, like, fantastic speaking up to make that difference. And last thing I want to talk about, you were talking about the support for you, and there has been so much support for Rankers, everyone across the team, and I want to talk about how that's been.
Oh, it's amazing seeing the numbers that we're pulling, even on the second broadcast. I think we pulled like ridiculous numbers thanks to like, you know, Eggster, Poppin, me streaming. Like, we give the people content outside of just matches, and I think that's really important for all players to give the fans something they want in between these matches, especially the off season. And throughout the time, like, they're seeing Knights, Kane pop off. Now they're coming to see what this is all about. Like, Knights 75% headshot percentage, Kane just like crazy first bloods. So I'm really happy that like we have the audience to shine light on the kids like that didn't have that maybe before, because opportunities will open up for the future for them, and they definitely deserve it.
Well, definitely a lot more people know all of your guys' names more, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for not just them, but for you as well. Congratulations again on this victory. I'll let you go chat with the team, celebrate, cue some more rank, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the chat.
Thank you so much, guys.
Back to ranked. Thank you. Back to ranked for them. I know what I need to do after this. First, we'll bring back our analyst, but I need to cue some ranked after this. I'm truly inspired after that. Also, man, to get the little download, the reads on YFP, but it was cool to hear not just the story, but more depth to this team too, because obviously we've talked so much about the talent, but a lot of it has been like, yeah, like things are running down. They're just crazy aimers, all of this, but then hearing kind of that extra little insight from Inspire, I thought was really cool, especially for how they were able to close out that second map.
I think it was a wonderful interview from both you and the answers that were given by Inspire. I think there was some great questions that we could also look back onto, because as Inspire mentioned, you know, once he got dropped by that him and Eccles stint here that was very short with 100 Thieves, there was no more opportunities for him. And I think to see him win this event and to still be very humble and being like, hey, like, it's not that I still have what it takes, F you to everybody else. He was just like, hey, I still have some potential. I still have some fighting game in me. Give me that chance. And on top of that, has tremendous leadership in how he was presenting himself in terms of the answers as well. I think it's a key component to have, especially in the meta, even with the Cypher nerfs that could still add a lot into Cypher utility and its value, in the future days. And I just think that Inspire was really, really good in terms of delivering the victory. And also when he was saying that his kids could just move around and frag, he'll just stay in his cam. When it comes down to clutching, he could clutch too, though.
Yeah, it's also great how much they rallied their communities and to provide content outside of this series. Really big shout out to Rankers, and they are your Challengers champions for the end of 2024. So I hope this inspires also everyone watching that you can get started, you can be part of these qualifiers, and you can make it all the way like Rankers did and upset some of the biggest teams like YFP, TSM, MXS, you name it. Rankers beat all of them. So big congratulations once again, and I guess watch out for their streams, because it looks like they're going to be little content creators in the off season.
Watch out for the streams, but also just out in the server, if you're trying to do a road to ranked or something, just hope that you're not going up against them. And also just for like the horizon in the future next year for Challengers Tier 2, everything Vance, because I feel like we're going to see these names a lot more often coming up.
That's a thing as well, and I'm hoping that a lot of organizations are still watching this and seeing how close it could be in terms of the tier 2 scene, so that a lot of it, still some investments will come out into 2025 for some orbs new orbs to jump in with the ones that jump ship, right? So I think it would be great opportunities for a lot of these players, a lot of these young talent, and I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that we continue to support it.
It's definitely been a fun tournament. I'm so sad it's all done now, but before we wrap, casters, Jen, fans, final words.
Well, I wanted to at least give a big shout out to Knights, who I think sparked a lot of careers for casters that have supported Challengers for so long, that gave a chance to me, Keg, Vans, you, like everyone who is a caster, I feel like has gone through the Knights gauntlet, not like the actual one, but through this, and they put so much care and love and passion and thought into everything. And thought Knights really killed it, and I'm really sad this is their last show. But so I hope you guys can show big love to the Knights in chat.
Yeah, echoing that sentiment as well. I think it was in for Miss Harvey and also the Knights when Valorant first came out in 2020 to get these opportunities to grind 18-hour days for their events. I wouldn't be here where I am right now, be able to cast this, be able to cast VCTs. I heard some people in chat saying, hey, how do we meet Van Silly? I hope he's not casting VCTs. Joke's on you. Thank you, Knights, for giving me the opportunity to do that. So again, I still echo the same sentiments as I did last week for those of their event. I hope for the best for everybody involved within Knights overall, because they're a great bunch of people to work with behind the scenes. Admins, working production, observers, and I hope that they still continue to have some opportunities as soon as possible going into the early days of 2025.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at my own career, my very first Valorant cast was with Knights, the first one to take a chance. So it is definitely bittersweet at this point, but thank you, Knights, so much for everything, for bringing these shows to life. And of course, we have to be thanking everyone behind the scenes as well, including from today's show, Brandon Razor, Hi Serene, Prezi, Days Dreams, Keith, Garrett, everyone else who's ever been involved in this road. Thank you so much for everything. Last but not least, thank you everyone for tuning in. Take care of yourselves.